BTS news today. The night was supposed to be about fashion, elegance, and the quiet power of presence. Under the glow of Parisian lights and the sharp silhouettes of CELINE's end-of-year event, Taehyung of BTS walked with the calm confidence of someone who had long mastered both the runway and the stage. Cameras flashed endlessly, fans held their breath, and the global fashion world once again acknowledged what it already knew. Taehyung was not just attending the event, he was commanding it. Yet what truly shook ARMY across the world did not happen on the red carpet, nor inside the venue filled with celebrities and executives. It happened afterward, quietly, emotionally, and unexpectedly through Jungkook. Within hours of the CELINE event ending, something shifted. Fans noticed it first not through official statements, but through subtle movements that only ARMY had been trained to recognize over the years. Jungkook's demeanor changed. His eyes, usually bright and playful during recent appearances, carried a depth that felt heavier than usual. When he finally spoke about Taehyung, even briefly, his words were simple but loaded with emotion, and the way his voice softened sent a wave of confusion and concern across the fandom. Began with a short live session. Jungkook appeared without much warning, dressed casually, hair slightly damp as if he had just finished a shower coming from the cold. At first, the live felt ordinary. He smiled, greeted fans warmly, laughed at a few comments. But then someone mentioned Taehyung in the CELINE event. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Jungkook paused. The silence stretched longer than usual, long enough for thousands of viewers to start typing frantic messages in the chat. When he finally spoke, his voice was lower, slower, almost careful. He said Taehyung did well, just that, but it was how he said it that stunned everyone. There was pride, unmistakable and deep, but also something else layered beneath it. Relief, longing, perhaps even concern. Jungkook smiled, but it didn't quite reach his eyes, and when he looked away from the camera, many swore they could see him swallowing back emotion. This reaction immediately ignited speculation. Why would Jungkook respond so emotionally to what was, on the surface, a successful fashion event? Taehyung had looked confident, radiant, completely at ease among global stars. Nothing seemed wrong. And yet Jungkook's response suggested that something deeper had unfolded behind the scenes, something not captured by cameras or shared in official press releases. Those who have followed BTS for years know that Jungkook and Taehyung share a bond that goes far beyond what is usually shown on stage. Their relationship has evolved through shared dorm rooms, exhausting world tour, moments of conflict, reconciliation, growth, and unwavering support. They have seen each other at their highest peaks and their lowest valleys. When Jungkook reacts emotionally to Taehyung, ARMY knows it is never without reason. Sources close to the event later hinted that Taehyung had been under immense pressure leading up to the CELINE appearance. Expectations were high, not just from fans but from the fashion industry itself. As one of CELINE's most prominent global faces, Taehyung was not merely attending as a guest. He was representing a bridge between music, fashion, and culture. Every movement, every expression, every outfit choice was being analyzed in real time by millions. What fans did not see was the weight of that responsibility. Behind the scenes, Taehyung reportedly spent long hours preparing, reviewing schedules, rehearsing how to navigate the event smoothly. While he maintained his composed exterior, those close to him noticed signs of exhaustion. Jungkook, who has always been deeply sensitive to Taehyung's emotional state, was aware of this long before the event even began. According to insiders, Jungkook had checked in with Taehyung repeatedly before the event, sending messages of encouragement, reminding him to eat, to rest, to breathe. This kind of care is not new for him. Jungkook has often spoken about how he worries about the members even when they appear strong. But something about this event felt different. Taehyung was stepping into a space that, while glamorous, can also be isolating. Fashion events are cold, calculated, and often unforgiving. They celebrate image while quietly demanding perfection. When the CELINE event concluded and images of Taehyung flooded the internet, fans celebrated. Headlines praised his visuals, his aura, his impact. But Jungkook, watching from afar, saw more than what the cameras captured. He saw the tension in Taehyung's shoulders, the controlled smile, the effort it took to remain composed under relentless scrutiny. And that realization seemed to hit him hard. During his live, Jungkook briefly mentioned how proud he was, but then added a line that sent shockwaves through ARMY. He said that sometimes doing well doesn't mean it was easy. The sentence was simple, but its implication was powerful. It suggested that behind Taehyung's flawless appearance was a struggle that few had acknowledged. Fans immediately began revisiting footage from the CELINE event with new eyes. They noticed small details they had previously overlooked. The way Taehyung briefly closed his eyes before stepping into the crowd, how he adjusted his coat as if grounding himself, how his smile softened the moment he was out of direct view. Suddenly, Jungkook's emotional response made sense. Another moment that intensified the reaction came later that night, when Jungkook posted a short message online. It wasn't a long paragraph, nor did it mention Taehyung by name. It simply said that he hoped everyone would remember to be kind because even strong people get tired. For many fans, this was confirmation enough that Jungkook's emotions were not random. They were rooted in empathy, concern, and a deep understanding of what his fellow member was carrying on his shoulders. The shock among ARMY did not come from the fact that Jungkook cared. That was expected. What shocked them was how openly emotional he allowed himself to be. Jungkook is known for his professionalism, for keeping his feelings balanced during public moments. For him to pause, to speak carefully, to show vulnerability, signaled that whatever he felt was too important to hide. As discussions spread across social media, fans debated whether Jungkook's reaction was driven by worry, pride, or perhaps a mixture of both. Many believed it was the culmination of months of emotional buildup. BTS members have been navigating individual schedules, personal growth, and the pressures of global fame in parallel. While they support each other, there are moments when distance makes that support harder to express. Seeing Taehyung stand alone at such a high-profile event may have reminded Jungkook of the times they used to face challenges together. Side by side. There's also the emotional history between the two that cannot be ignored. Jungkook has often described Taehyung as someone who understands him without words. Their bond has been built on silent understanding as much as shared laughter. When one struggles, the other feels it almost instinctively. Jungkook's reaction may have been less about the event itself and more about recognizing the emotional cost Taehyung paid to succeed that night. In the days following, Taehyung himself subtly addressed the situation. During a brief interaction with fans, he thanked everyone for their support and mentioned that he was grateful for the people who worried about him even when he didn't say anything. While he did not name Jungkook, fans immediately connected the dots. It felt like a quiet acknowledgement, a reassurance sent back across the distance between them. The emotional exchange, though largely unspoken, resonated deeply with ARMY. It reminded fans that behind the polished images and carefully curated appearances are real people who feel pressure, exhaustion, and vulnerability. Jungkook's reaction humanized not only himself but Taehyung as well. It pulled back the curtain on the emotional reality of life at the top, where success does not erase struggle, and admiration does not shield one from fatigue. What truly made this moment unforgettable was how it contrasted with the glamour of the CELINE event itself. While the world focused on outfits, poses, and headlines, Jungkook focused on Taehyung as a person. His emotional response was a quiet rebellion against the idea that success should come without acknowledgement of its cost. In doing so, he spoke not just to fans, but to anyone who has ever felt pressure to appear strong even when they were tired. As ARMY continues to reflect on this moment, many have expressed gratitude. Gratitude that BTS, even after years of global fame, still shows genuine care for one another. Gratitude that Jungkook allowed himself to be vulnerable, setting an example that concern and empathy are not weaknesses. And gratitude that Taehyung, despite the pressure, continues to move forward with grace, supported by people who see him beyond the spotlight. In the end, Jungkook's emotional response was shocking not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. It revealed a layer of reality that often goes unseen, reminding the world that even icons need reassurance and even the strongest bonds sometimes speak loudest in moments of quiet emotion. For ARMY, this was not just breaking news. It was a reminder of why they fell in love with BTS in the first place. The story did not end with that single live session or the quiet messages that followed. In fact, for many fans, that moment became the beginning of a deeper conversation about what had really been happening beneath the surface, not only for Taehyung but for Jungkook as well. As the hours turned into days, Jungkook's emotional reaction continued to echo through the fandom, growing larger with every small detail ARMY uncovered. What struck people most was the timing. Jungkook had been relatively lighthearted in recent appearances, joking with fans, sharing music recommendations, laughing freely. The sudden shift after the CELINE event felt too sharp to be coincidental. It was as if watching Taehyung that night had unlocked something Jungkook had been holding back. Those close to him suggested that Jungkook had been carrying his own quiet worries that intensified when he saw someone he deeply cares about standing alone under such intense global attention. Behind closed doors, Jungkook is known to be deeply observant. He notices changes in tone and posture and energy. He's the type to sense when someone says "I'm fine" but means the opposite. For years, Taehyung has often played the role of the free spirit, the one who smiles easily, who turns pressure into art. But those who know him well understand that he feels deeply, sometimes too deeply, and that he often chooses silence over burdening others with his struggles. Jungkook knows this better than anyone. According to people familiar with their dynamic, Jungkook had sensed Taehyung's exhaustion long before the CELINE event. The schedules, the expectations, the constant reinvention demanded by both music and fashion had begun to weigh on him. Taehyung never complained publicly and rarely privately, but Jungkook had noticed the longer pauses between messages, the slightly delayed replies, the subtle change in energy during brief conversations. Watching Taehyung smile flawlessly at the event, Jungkook reportedly felt both proud and unsettled. proud of how far his friend had come and unsettled by how much he seemed to be carrying alone.